This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Hey, we're going to be talking about the AFL Tribunal. Tom Barrass from the West Coast Eagles is going up today.
Yeah.
So he's challenging the...
rough conduct ban,
Yep.
which is him tackling Michael Walters and throwing him into the ground.
I saw it.
I don't have a problem with that at all, because I think you've got to weigh up the fact that one guy's 100 and something kilos, who's an absolute brute of a man. We've
Yeah.
had Tom in here before. And Michael Walters, he's probably a good 5'9" and weighs about 30 kilos.
He's a greyhound.
Wasn't the issue more
Greyhound,
that one of his arms was pinned and so he couldn't protect himself?
Yeah, it was.
Michael Walters
He
was
also put a little bit of GST in at the end, Michael Walters did.
Oh, yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
And that's been happening the whole way through.
Part of the reason was that his head hit the ball on the way down,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
And I think that in that moment he went, "Oh, he's hit my in the head," but it's his head on the ball.
But his head did hit the ground though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
But it was broken a bit by the
yes, it
ball,
was broken a bit. It's a bit of like hitting a trampoline.
Yeah, and Tommy Barrass had kind of rolled him almost on top of him, so he was kind of underneath him as well.
He spun him around, and I think
It's tricky.
I think the spinning around and getting to the ground a lot had a lot to do with the size differential,
Yes.
and it's super tricky, of course
Yeah.
it is. Jonathan Brown was speaking on The Couch, which is on the Fox Footy, and I was really interested to see his take on what's been going on at the tribunal. Toby Green was one who got a 1-week suspension last night, and Brownie is saying we are completely going towards Gaelic football.
Oh,
So where do you find the boundary?
By that's no tackling, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we've all kind of had that thought anyway. He joins us now. Brownie, good morning.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi, Brownie.
We're wonderful,
Nice to
mate.
be on.
Hi.
Is it getting
Going
too
well.
soft?
Yeah, it's been a bit happening, hasn't it? Well, it doesn't happen. We don't go to Gaelic football overnight. But if you actually look at the way we've changed the contact rules or the way we assess the contact, incrementally we are heading towards Gaelic football. So I'm saying in 10 or 15 years' time, fair enough, if we want to accept these rule changes and the way they police these rules, we will be Gaelic football in 10 years' time.
10 years,
Wow.
I don't think it'll be that far, Brownie. I think 10 years is I mean, you see how much has come in the
maybe
last...
that's too far.
Maybe the last 6 months, how far it's come.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is this, and as football players, because you've played this game with a certain set of rules during your time.
Yeah.
What do you think about it progressing to a safer sport, but not as an intense sport, probably in your eyes?
God, it just isn't the same, is it?
Well,
you go, Brownie.
it's not, is it? I think it's you're right, Macca, and it's a good question, mate. But the thing that we love about a game and draws us to our great game is still that element of the gladiatorial feel. And even though it's in a relatively safe environment, the players have never been quicker, faster, more powerful, but we still love that element of risk, which we all understand as players when we go out and take. I likened it to Formula One. We love Formula One for the speed and all that sort of stuff, but they've made it so safe. They can't go. The only way they can make it any more safe, they said to Max Verstappen, "Okay, Max, we love what you do, but the fastest you can drive is 150 kilometres an hour."
Yeah.
And we switch off. We switch off.
There's a speed camera.
Watch out for turn
That's why
3.
there's a speed camera.
I know.
The
but
multi-nova. He's
Brownie,
going to get you.
The flip side to that is, we saw another kid in the last week or two have to retire at the age of 24 because of chronic concussion. And so there's got to be a balance somewhere. Now that we know the long-term impacts of concussion, we know better than we did when you guys were playing, that they have to make it safer. Otherwise, there's going to be a generation of young men who they've got, CTE by the time they're in their 40s.
Just a question on that.
Go all the way now.
Yeah.
Let's rule out the mark of the year, the high mark. So, because a lot of the concussions are happening from marking contests. So when someone goes out and takes a mark and knees a person in the back of the head, but yet still takes mark of the year, suspend him. Suspend him, because if we want to make the game properly safe, they're the most dangerous things. I know Jeremy McGovern's one on Amos was an accident the other day. Those sorts of things. So, I just feel like we're just asking too much of our players now. These players are making unbelievable decisions in milliseconds. And I know they're trained for it, but when someone commits to the contest, they're not committing at the contest. They're committing 5, 10, 20 metres away. And if they are slightly off, we're suspending them when their intent all along wasn't to harm someone.
It's their eye at the ball, and that's a really interesting
We've talked
point.
about that quite a lot,
Yeah.
isn't it? The intent and what's actually happening.
Yeah.
If
Well,
your
the intent
intent's
is
not
all-
happening, because sometimes, Shaun, you say, how can they? They're in mid-flight.
They're in mid-flight.
How can they? Like, they've already committed to what they're doing, and then some factor has changed, and the result is going to be something that could possibly be dangerous. But you didn't go into that with that.
Well, 100%, Brownie. And what happens when Nathan's saying they're slowing it down in
Yes.
slow motion?
Slow-mo when saying, look,
And
you should
you're
have
like,
changed
what are
your
you
mind.
talking about?
Yeah.
Well, the human nature is too that. So it looks bad then when, say, in Toby Green's case, he braces. And, well, what's human nature? Like, we can never train that out. It's fight or flight. Human nature is when we realise something's going to go wrong, we brace.
Yeah.
So, like, go and find someone that can change that, take that element away from human behaviour. It just doesn't happen. So I just think we've just got to have some leniency towards the players. Yes, we are making the game safe, but we need to still have that balance. And unfortunately, there's going to be situations like a Nathan Murphy where they have to retire early. However, there is an element of risk to all these contact sports.
Yeah, right. Hey, I want to quickly talk about an article I saw from your football world, you two.
Yes.
And it's the question of bugle fatigue for Anzac Day matches, because every
there too
game
much?
has a bugle, and they reckon it's too much bugle. Talk to me.
No, I disagree. I disagree
Thank God my
wholeheartedly.
wife's not saying that.
Morning, Kylie.
I mean, it's only one
I
week.
heard it was just a little umpire's whistle.
It's one round. Is it that big a deal?
No. Someone wants to make a comment on
Yeah.
it, but I think when you go to an AFL match over this weekend and
Yes.
everybody's standing there,
It's a powerful moment.
It's a powerful moment.
So,
Well
but
said, Matt.
the thing is, it happens at all the matches over that weekend.
Yeah, it
so
is.
if you
It
watch all the football, you see the bugle played how many times?
it'll be 9 times.
9 times.
Yeah.
9 times. But you know what? You only hear the bugle really once a year. It's
You
not
can-
something that we play on the
exactly.
radio.
Yeah.
You can tune in later.
Yeah. Brownie?
Is there no more pressurised moment in sport, though, than the bugler? Because
I know.
to turn up, to me, it seems like an incredibly difficult instrument to
Yes.
play. And to turn up in front of, let's say, the one on tomorrow,
Yes.
98,000 or 100,000 people, if he stuffs it up, the whole
I
nation
know.
is watching.
Imagine it.
I would much rather a kick after the siren in the grand final than have to stand up and play the bugle.
And can I tell you, right, the most disrespectful thing that you can do is talk during...
You would never.
Talk during that.
Yeah.
Brownie, when I was in Big Brother, right, so as you know, there's challenges going left, right and centre. You don't know what day of the week it is, right? So for instance, sometimes you're lying in bed and then you hear a song and you have to run to a phone box outside and get dressed up as a superhero and fly around and do a good deed. So you always got your wits about you. So one morning we're all asleep and it's super early, of course, and next minute we hear what sounds like a trumpet. And none of us know what it is, so we think it's a challenge. So everyone's running up and we're all screaming and yelling, talking really loudly, and then we go outside and we're going, where is this this noise coming from? Next minute, a cherry picker comes up and there's a guy with a bugle, and then we realise
It's the last post.
We realise it's the last post and how disrespectful we are on national television. And then he finishes bugling, and then the cherry picker just goes back down. And then that was it. So he didn't even tell us it was Anzac Day. You could have given us the heads up so we don't look like assholes.
Didn't know what day it was.
Didn't know what day it was.
How disrespectful. Hey, what's going on with Harley Reid? I'm like every other...
We don't know. Nobody talks about him over here.
Brownie, you actually have to come over here at some stage to witness it. It has been laughable.
Ridiculous.
Before he started playing well in the last 2 weeks, it was so laughable for the last 6 months.
Yes.
So laughable.
Before he'd even played a game, it was, it was ridiculous.
And now the local paper, since he played brilliantly and he had that really great patch on the weekend, they're saying, I told you so.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Here's the thing, right? So the local paper have really leaned into it, So they're sort of commenting on the fact that other people are commenting on the fact that Harley's on the back page of the paper. There was a pull-out posted today, Shaun. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
This one I think is a different beast. It's got a
it's the
picture of
front
3
page.
players. Who are they?
One's Ryan Marrick.
Oh, yeah, Ryan Marrick. And we have
Brady Hoff.
Brady Hoff on the left-hand side.
Yep.
And he's just...
Ruben Ginby.
Ruben.
Anyway,
Sorry,
it's got those guys. There's like an explosion sort of graphic coming out the back, and then down the bottom, it's got Harley's Angels. He would be, out of anything, you would be mortified by that, wouldn't you? Knowing that, because basically these three guys I play with are my crime-fighting chicks.
My crime-fighting chicks. Hey, Brownie, just
These
before
boys will be getting some feedback in the locker room.
Yeah, he would be getting.
The team I was doing the game this week on Sunday against Gold Coast.
You are?
He's not playing.
He's not playing.
He's not
Hey,
playing.
Brownie, just to give you an idea, Monday's paper, we counted how many was there? Was there 14 or 17 little pictures of him? Individual.
Oh, it's
13.
13. I got over the top there. 13 individual pictures of him.
And only one recipe of the day.
Well, I'll tell you what, he'd be struggling. I'm not sure if drink cards are still around, Macca, but imagine if that was happening to either of us back in the day.
The fights.
Mate, there'd be drink cards just falling out of your pocket.
I know. He needs to be signed up for $1 million a year, doesn't he, for the fines?
Exactly.
I heard he gets free fruit and veg, though. So the one thing that when it comes to contract time, I asked Dino, our man who does the podcast, the other day.
Yes.
He said he won't leave for $2 million to any other club because he gets free fruit and veg in WA.
From the
So
herdsman, no less. That's a great spot.
Stay at West Coast because he gets fresh produce.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's all it
mate.
takes.
You know how expensive watermelon are these
Exactly.
And at the herdsman, that's about
I know.
$900.
We love your work, Brownie. Thanks for chatting this morning.
days. Thanks, mate.
Good on you guys. Take care.
See you, buddy.
Cheers.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
We've got a double pass to go and see the Fremantle Dockers take on the Bulldogs this
what's second prize?
Saturday.
Oh, Natalie!
You can leave, Natalie. Actually, the weekend's performance, I'm really angry about. Actually,
I'm
You
sorry.
are. You are.
I mean, I haven't teased you about it yet, mainly because I wasn't here, but also because I did feel a bit sad for you.
Well, this is the Len Hall game, and Kelly Black puts on an amazing.
Genuinely, so good.
Yeah.
They do such a good
You'll
job
love
of it.
They really do put on a great show there. Let's hear it for the Purple Army from the Bankwest Best Seats in the House, and that will go to caller number 12 right now, 132410. Nat, actually, I am getting angry as the week goes on about this derby, and here's the reason why, is because I was watching the press conferences yesterday, and Fife was speaking about the club's performance, and a lot of people have said to me, you can have a mulligan every now and then. So you have a bad performance. That's a golf term.
A mulligan means that you actually get to do it over again, though, and they don't get to do it over again. So
they do. They're playing this week, and they get to go again and again and again.
Oh,
and
okay.
again. You
So
know
a
what I mean?
mulligan, I thought a mulligan would be another chance of that exact derby.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's
That would
happening
be
too,
an actual-
also in the end of the
Yes.
Okay.
I do, because there's more than one.
No, I mean, what he means is they had a bad day, and you don't write off the season because you have a bad day.
No, yes, 100%. And I totally go with that because I know there was a lot of things that can go against them in that circumstances, with guys missing that are really important to their structure and kicking goals in particular, them being away for a couple of weeks, blah, 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 blah. The one thing that I can't get over for this particular game, which is a derby, is that if you go and watch the Adelaide showdown between Port Adelaide and the Crows, they fight to the last siren every single time they play. Every single time. When I reckon that we first started against West Coast, they were a much better team than us because they had the premiership players that you could all name their names, like Chris Mainwaring in the gang, Peter Matera. You know, they were an elite bunch of people who'd come off the back of almost being a state team, entering the AFL. They won 2 premierships in a row. Then there was a period where for a decade, both teams went at each other. We fought, we scrapped, we were, they won some, we won some, and the games were very close. And I felt over the last probably 6 years that the rivalry between these two clubs has gone downhill. And Fremantle have lost too many games by big amounts, and they thrashed West Coast last year by 100 points.
Thinking the hunger and intensity because of the rivalry doesn't exist anymore. You want to see like an Anchorman fight.
You want to see the brawls that you're famously
the news teams fighting each other in the streets with machetes. Rick Arden and Tomo just smashing on.
Yeah.
Susanna and Tracy Vogue coming in. Boom, elbows.
Yeah, and then Narelda Jacobs comes down from the sky. Boosh,
yeah.
Right in your guts.
100%.
Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I just don't know what... And getting back to what Fifey said, you can have those games, and everybody does. The Western Bulldogs 2 weeks ago played a really bad one. Everyone lobbed into them. They were able to get themselves up. But when you're playing a team with such a big rivalry in town, it's got to mean more. You've got to make sure you get yourself up. You're representing a lot of people.
You've got to be in the club and hating them.
Yeah, you do.
Hating them. Their faces on dartboards. Aren't they nasty
Sean,
people?
there's been a bit of criticism over the years that Fremantle have cared too much about the derby and not enough about the rest of the season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, in the past they have.
it's that little brother thing that was their premiership, was to win the Derby.
To get a
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
No, Nat, that is a true statement that happened in the late 90s to the early 2000s. I mean, that's 20 years ago now. But it hasn't been the case for a long time. But that was. When I was playing, that's what it was.
But remember, there is something else to put in the mix with the recent Derby results, and that is two things that had not happened before. Number one, the Derby Decider Challenge with the witch that we now know as Marlene Morris, and her win with Jeremy McGovern, and also the fact that I watched the entire game. These are two things that have never happened before in a derby.
I'm happy for Marlene to come again, but can you stop watching?
You're happy for my mum to come again.
So is Marlene, weirdly.
It's funny when you isolate that question,
isn't it?
So I think there just needs to be
more passion, more intensity.
And you watch the showdown. That's what happens every time. They hate each other. They're going to get at it, and it's going to be a close game. If you
spoke to the individual players, they would say it's no different every week. They're giving it everything. I think they were just tired.
No, I totally agree.
3 games in 11 days.
I totally agree.
And a lot of travel.
Sometimes you need to, because we've been through that moment, all of us at various times. You just got to get up and get it done.
Yeah, but sometimes you got nothing in the tank.
And particularly against an arch rival like us, with say like 6IX or something, we'd get up to those bastards.
I'd take them down.
They're my closest friends. You leave them alone.
But we're mad rivals.
Don't have an enemy in this radio landscape. We're all friends.
What's the Christian network called? What are they?
Sunshine FM.
Oh, that's it.
You're going to take them down?
What are you going to take
them
down
They've got God
for?
on their side. We can't mess with that.
I'm a Catholic. I've got him here too, mate. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah, but I'm in here. I'm pretty sure he ushered himself out a while ago.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.